Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mumbai Angels Network Spotlight, which is a platform to showcase solutions provided by startups. Today, we have Slate, a fintech company which is building a convenient and insightful technology-enabled accounting service. It has been co-founded by Gaurav Saraf and Siddharth Goel, who are both seasoned entrepreneurs and angel investors. The focus of today's demo is to understand how Slate can help startups stay on top of their finances and compliance in a world where remote working is becoming the only way to conduct business. The session will begin with a presentation by Slate, followed by a demo of their products and services. This will be followed by a Q&A session at the end to address any queries. I request all participants to keep their devices on mute so that you can hear the presenters there more clearly and understand the demo. And also, if you have any questions, please share it with us via chat. Our team will curate it and we'll ask the Slate team to address it in due course. Thank you. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you, Shivangi. Hi, everyone. It is great to get this opportunity. Thank you very much to the team of Mumbai Angels for letting us do this and reach this fantastic audience. I'm going to just share my screen with the presentation. So I hope everybody can see it. I hope it's visible to everyone now. So the focus of today's presentation is to show you the kind of innovation that we are doing in accounting. And I feel that it is especially useful in a time like this when we are forced to work from home or work remotely. And at a time like this, your financial information, when it is not available to you at your fingertips, it can be extremely difficult for you to take the tough decisions that we all are trying to take at a time like this. So, accounting is a field where there hasn't been a huge amount of technological innovation that has happened for a very long time. It has basically been, up to Tally or a QuickBooks where they're giving you, these platforms in which you enter your information. But the innovation that Slate brings to the table is that we are using artificial intelligence plus human experience and intelligence to power a system which provides great service, right? Fantastic service to help you take the burden of accounting and compliance off your shoulders and outsource it to our team and to our platform. And we do this using, as I said, cutting edge artificial intelligence, machine reading, integration of various different disparate systems. For example, the banking system, the accounting system, the invoicing system, even POS terminals. So bringing all of that together and giving you one view and one interface which has all your information. And not just that, you also get insightful data with which you can take decisions. Typically, an accounting service only gives you P&L and balance sheet, but we are an accounting service which gives you insightful data for actionable intelligence, okay, for actionable insights. So let me move to the next slide. I already talked somewhat about Slate. Our goal is to be the default choice for all startups and for all SMEs in India to be their partner for accounting and compliance, and a lot more. And a lot more will come, and we will keep interacting in the future. We'll tell you more. But our goal is that as an entrepreneur, you have so many things on your plate, whether there is sales and HR and marketing and acquisitions and raising investments, and accounting and compliance tends to be the administrative task that you want to push to the last day of the last minute, right? And we are taking that burden off and giving it to you in a way which is actually going to add value and become strategic in the way that you conduct business. So that is what Slate is. We give you a dedicated accountant who works remotely to manage your account. You can always call this person and ask any question you have. And typically, you do the same thing with your chartered accountant or the firm that you have appointed for this work. But the way that they do this is with using minimal technology, and with using the archaic systems, and I'll come to that in a minute. Before that, I'd like to just make sure that you know who are the people behind this and why you may want to trust us. So Siddharth and I are the co-founders. We go back 25 years. I have run a venture capital fund, been involved in startups, building startups, investing in startups for more than a decade. Siddharth has been a serial entrepreneur. He's got great experience in building technology companies and also various types of technologies. So he's been doing that for also maybe more than 15 years now. Uh, he's also an angel investor, as am I. We are supported by a great team of chartered accountants from companies like ENY, KPMG, Centrum, and TMF. The combined experience of our chartered accounting team is over 40 years, and we are adding more and more as we go forward. And these are the people who are helping us with the domain expertise required to build this technology. Uh, I want to just spend a quick minute to tell you why it is important to recognize the difference between an unorganized player and what Slate is offering. Number one, of course, we have great technology that we are building, which will make life a lot simpler for the accountants as well as for the clients that they interact with. But it's also because we have a lot of protocols that are being infused into our work, which makes sure that every entry meets the standards and checks and balances that are required. But very importantly also, we are making sure that your data security, right, privacy of your data is access controlled. So only those people who are working on your data and your business are allowed to access your data. The backup protocols are also very stringent. So all of your data will not just get lost if a computer breaks down or there is a fire or some such thing. And the customer service levels are maintained at a very high standard because we train. First of all, we hire very well. We make sure that the people we hire are very high quality and caliber in terms of communication and domain knowledge. But also then we train them further. And this is not typically what happens at a firm which is a small independent practice, because they're constrained for money, they're constrained for time, they have low bandwidth, they just cannot keep up. So we are doing all of those things, and to ensure that we can emerge as a branded player in this segment, and be one of the organized players in a very, very unorganized and a very, very fragmented market with all kinds of players charging anywhere from 2,000 rupees to 20,000 rupees for the same type of service. Sorry, I went back. So why should you care about accounting automation and cash flow management? Some of these answers are quite obvious. Number one, you need to know where your money is. So if you put in so automation comes in where you put in very little effort and the accounting happens on its own, right? And when you are working with Slate, all you have to do is send your invoices to us or to your dedicated account manager, and we have technology which reads the invoice, enters it into the right accounting system, ensures that the entry and the categorization of those expenses or receivables or whatever it may be is done in the right manner with the right protocols. And that affects the management reports that you see later on. So a wrong entry is basically wrong information coming to you at the end of the day. The next point is that a lot of people, when they work with independent practices, do not end up realizing how much tax penalty they end up bearing, because there's GST and TDS and payroll and all of these taxes, and you don't really realize how much you may be burning or leaking because of poor practices. So we make sure that all of those things are in place, and you never have to pay but penalties on taxes ever again. We ensure that you save a lot of time because of the automation, because of the ease of usage. You save a lot of time on of management bandwidth, so that you can do more important things, which I also mentioned earlier. It could be talking to the client or make sure that you are hiring people. And, at the end of the day, perhaps, maybe even getting off work a little bit early and spending that time with your family. Uh, so these are the things that we ensure, these are the reasons why you should care about it. And especially at a time like this, where, you're working from home, you don't have access to your books. It's very hard for people to stay on top of their finances. So knowing where your money is extremely important. And to know that the information you're getting is accurate, that your books are up to date, the books are reliable, is very, very important, not just for you, but also your investors, because they can't help you if they have wrong information. So with that, I'm going to quickly head into the demo. I'm going to hand it to Urvi in just a second. We'll show you the demo of this dashboard. Before that, I'd like to tell you that we are about a 3-month old company in the sense that we got into the market about 3 months ago. We started about a year ago. So the dashboard and everything that you see is very, very early and is evolving almost on a weekly basis. So we've created a demo account for you, a company called Bollywood Dreams, run by one of the three idiots, Funsuk Wangru. If you guys if you guys are fans of Bollywood, you may appreciate that. So I'm going to hand it to Urvi to quickly show you what this dashboard is, that you get to see as the founder of the company or as the finance controller of the company. And then I'll come back to talking about a little more about automation and various integrations with banks.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. I'll just share my screen just a sec. Yeah, I'm hoping you guys can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. So what you see here is the dashboard view of our Bollywood Dreams company. Whenever you land, this is the landing page where you get 4 cards. Having said that, if you have more than one company, this platform also helps you get all the companies in one view. So you don't have to worry about logging in and logging out of various platforms. All you can do is at one go see all your companies together. The first view that you get here is the 4 cards, which are very critical from a business perspective. The cash, which is the of the business or the lifeline. After that, the accounts receivable and payable, which will help you managing whether you get, how do you manage your cash in and out with respect to your receivables and payables, and then your compliances in terms of GST and TDS. And the preview itself gives you accounts payables and receivables along with how much amount is due and how much amount is overdue, right? All this is enabled with the help of hover. So all you have to do is just hover on these items and you'll be able to see how much of your receivables are overdue and how much of them are due. From the current perspective, what we have assumed is that for any company with receivable and payable more than 30 days, the amounts will be considered as overdue, and other than 30 days will be considered as due. However, this is completely customizable. So for your company, if an overdue is say over 10 days, we can easily customize that. Now I'll take you to the first card, which is the cash and cash equivalent. When you click here, you on a monthly basis would know how your cash has moved. And on a hover function, it will tell you which bank or which account had how much balance. So for instance, your State Bank of account in August of 2019 had 98,000 versus HDFC has 5,30,000. The card itself on the next charts here will be able to show you what was the monthly balance as of the latest date. So for instance, this data is last updated as of the 15th of May. So you will be able to see what is your cash balance or your bank statement balance, everything as of the 15th of May. And the chart itself will show you how it has moved. If you want to look at the details, all you have to do is click here and it will take you to the detailed chart. If you want to see for a particular moment, particular month, all you have to do is select the month in question. So for instance, if you want to look at what was the cash position in February, all I have to do is select the month of February right here, and it will show me what was my cash and respective bank balances as at the month of February. Likewise, if we go to the next card, which is my receivables and payables card here, it will tell me how much is the overdue and due amount. This is also the landing page chart, and the hover itself works. If you look at the receivables and payables on a hover, it will even tell you which is the company from which amounts are receivable, which is due or overdue, right? So it will tell you, for example, Cholbul Pandey has to pay me 40 lakhs, and which is still less than 30 days due. Versus if you see a green arrow, has to pay me 14 lakhs, but that is already overdue. So it's at a clicks or only a hover level, at one glance how much is the money that you need to receive. Further, if you want to look at the details, we will even have a detail tab which will give you invoice data along with the invoice references and the details which will be relevant, right from the GST to the TDS as well as the net receivable. It will even tell you whether the amount is due or overdue and by how many days, right? So anything that you need to look at here, you'll be able to see. There is also a separate banking section which uh, Gaurav just mentioned, and I'm sure that he'll take you guys through after. Likewise, for payables, it will tell you how much is my due and overdue amounts, and for each of the parties. So, for example, I have to pay Mugambo for 14 lakhs, which is overdue. And likewise, I have to pay Crime Master Gogo, which is due for 37 lakhs, right? And likewise, for the details, I'll be able to see how much is the vendor payments, what is the vendor name, what is the reference number, what is the TDS payable to the government, how much was the total amount, and what is the net payable, along with the due and overdue and the day since creation. One of the interesting facts here is that at one, I mean, even if you want to look at, like, the totals are also available here, and there is a separate section again which Gaurav will take you once I'm done presenting uh, with respect to the banking section. Now the GST and TDS. So from a GST and TDS perspective, what is most critical is whether it has happened, whether all the compliances have been made on time or not. So this chart here easily would tell you what were your due dates and whether you've been able to file it in time or not. So for every instance, for example, if I hover on this month where I know that there is a delay in payments, so the yellow line here kind of shows you whether you have made a delayed payment or not. So on a hover, I would know how much is when was the due date, by how many days did I miss my timelines, and what was the result of it. So basically, I paid almost 5,000 rupees additional as interest and penalty because I did not file on time. And as well for the GST and TDS itself, right? What was the total amount paid? The card itself kind of helps you understand at a simplistic manner how much was the total GST for the period in question. And this is right now 12 months. So for the 12 months, the TDS was, say, for example, 12 lakh 16,000, 69,000. And out of that, so for instance, the timely compliance was 9 lakhs. So balance was something which I did, but a delayed compliance. And likewise for a GST as well. So for instance, 4 lakh 45,000 is the amount that I paid as a part of delayed compliance. What we also give you is an insight into the management reports. So while there are 4 cards which are very essential from a business perspective, there is a lot more which an MIS can give you. So for example, your due diligence, your investors, everything that they need to see, right from the cash flow movements to your sales to your operating expenses and incomes, as well as the non-operating incomes and expenses. We also give you MIS for that, and all this is customizable. So for example, this is a manufacturing company, that's why you're having purchases and sales. But if suppose you are into a service industry, this can very well be customized for your industry, so that this will be able to give you better insights. What we also give you along with the charts itself is a financial highlights. So for at a glance, you will know how your company has, so for example, performed in 2019 versus 2020, and this is a monthly basis. So you will know exactly how you're progressing as the month grows. We also give you insights on how your key ratios, for example, like working capital to sales ratios have moved. And what are your top customers, what were your cash flows, inflows and outflows, etc. And then from a condensed balance sheet, so that at any point of time you know whether you are in a good position or bad. We also give for startups a lot of uh, ratios like burn rate ratio and the cash run rate ratios are critical. So we even give you that, and the chart, and here we also explain whether it is a good, bad, or poor performance. Likewise, the P&L statement as well. So the MIS reports are customizable, available for everybody. The preferred partners. So we at Slate believe that we are one solution for all your issues. So not just your accounting and compliance, but right from your due diligence or legal or company secretarial matters. Even if you want to register for cash-based payment gateways, we've even tied up with all of them. So we are like a one-stop solution for all of this. If you happen to avail these services through Slate, you get an additional special discount. And all you have to do is you can read about all the partners that we have here. You can go to read more if you want to, if you would like to know more about that. Just say I am interested and write your query if you like, and and hit send, and somebody will uh, you know uh, register with you and come. I mean, somebody will get in touch with you in less than 24 hours to understand your query and then see how it can be best resolved. So this is a quick overview of the dashboard, and I'll hand it off back to Gaurav now so that he'll take you through the next phase of this. Thanks, Gaurav.
Okay, thank you, Urvi.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I would, while I'm loading the presentation again, what I would like to add to what Urvi has just said is that all the things that you see are essentially just the beginning. Where maybe 5% of where we would like to be in terms of the automation and various elements of cash flow management. But I think it is a good start so far, and we are already able to show value to our customers. We have 25 paying customers in the last 3 months, and which I think is a reasonably good start and good validation. Uh, Also, in terms of cash flow management, where you see these cards like accounts receivables and accounts payable, these cards are going to become more and more active or actionable cards for you. So, for example, when you have an accounts receivable which is very close to going into overdue, an automatic notification would go to the companies, to your customers contact, where you will remind that person to make the payment on time, and additionally also send a payment link so that the individual can make a payment very easily. So these types of functionality are in the works and are soon to be released. On the payable side, I'm going to walk you through what is coming up very, very shortly. And I think that's pretty cool. Uh, so when you see your accounts payable on your dashboard, what we are working with banks on is that not only do you see the payable, but you can actually take on action on the payable. Okay. So let's take the example of the companies that are shown here. It shows you about 5 or 6 payments which you need to make, and it shows you what is your total account balance, because this is the information I've got directly from the bank, where I has an account with Slate, and is also an account holder of a bank which is integrated with Slate. So here what you are able to see is the account balance. You're able to see what is your total payable from the information that you have submitted to the Slate team, and you can see your pending transactions and process transactions for that month. Okay. uh, Here what you would do is you would be able to see the payments that you need to make. You would see the due dates. You would see how much you need to pay after deducting TDS and such taxes, and then also see the status of each of these payments over here. What we do is, for payment authorization, we follow the bank's protocol. Okay, so we do not make up any of our own protocol. We don't take that risk. The bank lets us know that for a particular company, who are the authorized signatories, and what are the amounts that they need to approve, and what is the protocol. So if, for example, amounts under 1 lakh require one signatory, but amounts above 1 lakh may require 2 or 3 signatories, all of that is captured in this platform through our integration with the bank. One of the most annoying things which I think accountants feel they have to do is, every time the payment has to be made, they need to go and create a new payment. So not only do you enter information into the accounting system, but then you do it all over again into the bank system, right? So what we do here is that you only create it once, and we'll show you a very cool way of creating the payments as well in just a couple of minutes. You will create the payment, and it will actually become a beneficiary on the bank site because we have the integration. The green tick over here that you see, which is, it says Construction Private Limited with the green tick, and some of these others, but Technology Private Limited doesn't have the green tick. So what that means is that when you submitted that that vendor name to Slate and the bank information, Slate went and verified that the bank account number matches with the client name or the vendor name, and therefore it is a verified account to which you can make a payment. So we allow for payments to unverified accounts also in certain situations, but there is a check that we already do to make sure that the payment is to a verified account. And then the owner of the company or the authorized signatory has to just simply select a payment that they want to make. The bank sends an OTP to the platform directly, which is the bank sends an OTP directly to the mobile of the signatory. He enters it here, and it's done. Okay, so you can actually
Hello?
Yeah, I think. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lose Gaurav.
We lost Gaurav.
Yeah. Okay. Siddharth, you want to take it from here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
hi, Udvi. You can continue while Gaurav is frozen. Please continue.
I'm Siddharth. I'm a co-founder with Gaurav. I'll just take it forward
Sure.
from here. I don't have access to the screen, but on the banking side, basically we're creating this whole one-click banking interface, totally integrated with your payables, as Gaurav was just mentioning. Uh, Obviously, you sign up with BRs, board resolutions with the banks, and based on the OTPs, this will straight away go and get processed. And not only that, this will automatically update uh, the uh, the accounting system as well as your dashboards in a real-time manner, because we are working on API banking with several banks to enable this kind of functionality. So we really are moving in the direction of going back to removing checks out of the system, making it totally digital, and as well as contextual with this whole dashboard kind of functionality to enable payments to go through. Yeah. One second. Now I'll have to share my screen.
Yeah. Yeah, Siddharth, I'm sharing my screen. You
Yeah, you
can
can tell me.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So, Urvi, have you shared your screen?
Yes, yes. My screen is shared.
Okay. Yeah. So, can you go to the next slide?
Should I go to the next?
Yeah. Yeah. Please go to the next.
Yeah. This is the OTP that we were talking about from a
Yeah.
bank perspective.
Yeah. So as you can see, you have all these statuses and action fields. We're working deeply with banking, sort of APIs to enable, making sure all the security protocols are met. Uh, Once you go for a pay now, it'll, as Gaurav was mentioning, you will get an OTP which will be sent to the specific user's phone, and based on your OTP acceptance, the payment will actually go through. Okay, Urvi, can you go to the next slide?
Yes. And to just add to what Siddharth just said here, I think Gaurav also did mention that we are supporting not only single payments but also bulk payments. So if you have to make say 4 to 5 payments together at any point of time, all you have to do is just select all of them and click approve, and it will take you to the OTP for bulk approval, and accordingly make the payments for bulk at the same time.
Right. Yeah. So it's a good point, Urvi. So as you can see, we are doing the making for our, first version of our banking. We are planning to be the makers, for quote unquote makers in banking parlance. And from a, from a owner and a, entrepreneur perspective, it really collapses your whole banking operations, and it's all integrated into this whole dashboard where, you have, you can do with one click, you can make multi bulk payments, across the board. Yeah. And it'll also, somebody just asked a question on, will it allow part payment? I think, yeah, part payment is also possible. I don't know if we have those interfaces shown here, but yeah, it is possible.
Yeah.
Urvi, can you go next?
Yes.
Gaurav's not here. I'm sorry if this is like a little bit. Nikhil,
yeah.
Can you present this?
Yeah, I can. Give me a second.
Sorry about this, guys.
Hi, everyone. Are you all able to see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So let me just give you a bit of context behind the parser. This invoice parser is actually an internal tool that we want to use at Slate. And the idea is we want to, empower the existing workforce behind the accounting system that is going to be Slate, right? And we've identified and we've done a lot of research to understand that there are a lot of monotonous tasks that go behind, the day-to-day work. And to actually ensure that, work is accelerated, what we've built is, and what we're building continuously and improving on is what we call an invoice parser, right? And the idea behind this is that a person can share their invoices with Slate, and we would have the system in the backend that would automatically capture all the most important data out of the invoice and populate it accordingly in the books of the in your books for you to later do other transactions as well. So let me just quickly go through one example. Here I'm just uploading an invoice, and I mean, if you can see from the looks of it, it's just a standard invoice here, right? And I'm just going to go and click on bill parse. And what the the system's doing right now is actually just capturing and putting down all the data and trying to populate it on the right hand side. Just give it a second.
Yeah, just to add to that, like, as we, Gaurav had mentioned, guys, we are looking to build, lots of automation around this whole accounting and compliance functions. And, this is one area where, based on our research and, sort of market research, a fair bit of transactions related to invoicing and payables is a big bottleneck for a lot of startups. And which is why we've gone and built, we are working on this track. And Nikhil, again.
Yeah. So as you can see here, I've just uploaded this invoice by Mr. Jitendra, right? And what we've been able to capture from uploading this invoice is some of the more important details, like the GST, the PAN number, as well as the address. So what we get to see here is that we're capturing a lot of the critical information from here, right? And it's actually putting this out for the accounting, the person at Slate, to either say yes, this information is correct, or I need to maybe override this and say that maybe this information is not correct. So the entire premise behind having this system is to ensure that existing teams can augment or accelerate certain processes. If it takes let's say a person about maybe 10 to 15 minutes to put together this invoice and then pass it through your accounting system, why not just have a tool that will just immediately reduce the amount of time needed to do that? And the most interesting thing about this is that it works in multiple. We can have it sort of retrofitted onto across different mediums, whether it's email, maybe it's maybe it's just a simple chat somewhere. All the the accounting person or the finance controller has to do is really just send the invoice, and we would parse it for them and put it across into the platform right there, right? So this is just one invoice, and this is something that as you can see, some details may not be there, right? Accordingly, let me show you one more invoice. I think this is, yeah, let's go with this. And you can see here, right? Let me just go on bill parse.
So
Just
this is obviously this is like a this is still in the lab. We are
yes.
working on things. We're trying to get the accuracy up. But the premise here is that these are kind of areas where this might be a 20-step process for an accountant to actually go and create a new payable vendor in your accounting system. We will try to parse this and with one click make an entry of this payable into your accounting system and even your payable sheets and all, which we've been showing you.
Absolutely. Just adding on to what Siddharth said, this is more of a continuous learning, right? And we've done a lot of research to identify the different formats for an invoice. And what we really want to do is capture the most integral data points from here to further use that to augment the existing Slate platform, right? As you can see, we've just captured some of the data here, which is, for example, the vendor's name. We've gotten the PAN number as well. And in the previous invoice, we didn't have a SIN number, but in this one we do. So we've managed to capture that as well. So as you can see, this is more of a continuous learning, and we're looking to work on this more more frequently in the future, right?
Great. Thanks, Nikhil. I think Gaurav is back.
I'm back. Yeah, guys. Sorry about that. My computer just crashed at the. That's just how reliable technology is. But that's not true for Slate. We are more reliable than that.
Okay. Over to you, Gaurav. Yeah.
So yeah, as promised, we spoke to you guys about automation, which we showed you that it is being done in various ways, like reading documents from email or from invoices that you share with us, and also from the banking that we showed you, which is the automation layer again, where we can show you how to manage your cash flows straight from this platform rather than going from one platform, which may be your Tally or QuickBooks, and then going into the bank's platform to approve everything. And not only can you see which payments are pending, but you can also see who are the people who have not approved the payment. So I think that all that you have seen while I was disconnected. So we showed you the invoice parser. So just to sort of summarize, the offerings that we have are that for all our customers, we can offer them a dedicated accountant who is well trained, very knowledgeable and experienced, who does the work for them remotely. If somebody wants an accountant to be available part-time, we can do that as well. We have now opened our business with 2 franchises and network partners. So we have external partners as well who are independent business consultants who do tax filing and accounting. We train them in our protocols. So we can give you dedicated accountants. We give you a cash gain plan, which tells you where you are leaking cash, especially in terms of compliances, how you can take advantage of MSME registration, GST, lower TDS registration and such things. And after that, we can give, of course, there is online access for all your information. So you don't need to do anything, calling your accountant again and again and asking him that, acha, ye paisa aaya kya, wo paisa gaya kya, and things like that. You know exactly what is happening. It's all at your fingertips. You can access it from wherever and whenever. Our preferred partners are the most reliable people working for SMEs that we have done a lot of due diligence on and identified great deals with them for our SME clients and startups, so that they don't have to waste their time looking for these people. It can be anything from secretarial, requiring valuation report, legal documentation, payment gateways, co-working spaces, etc., etc. And we're a full service firm. You come to us, we can pretty much take you all the way from registration to acquisition, all the way through. And for investors, especially, if there are any investors who are in the audience, we can give you access to just view some of the data of your portfolio companies, which the portfolio company agrees to let us share with you, so that you can also see all your portfolio company data in one place. Our pricing is very simple. It's a monthly pricing, just how you typically may pay an accountant. Our prices start from 2,000 rupees per month onwards, depending on how large your company is and how many transactions per month we have to handle for you. We do TDS filing, we do GST filing, and all the other compliances going along with it. And as I said, our partners are there for secretarial and registrations and other types of things. Some of the clients we serve, just very quickly, you may have heard of a few, I don't know. So Lead Angels is a client, Physique 57, Workwise is a co-working space, Icon Solutions, a technology development company, architects. So, this is a platform we think can be used across various different industries, various different types of businesses like doctors, lawyers, architects, professionals, freelance, everything. So with that, I think I'm going to draw this presentation bit to a close and open it up for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah, Gaurav, there are many questions.
Okay.
There's some on your chat also, but there's even on the chat functionality here on your WhatsApp. There's a summary of 7-8 questions which we think.
Oh, okay. Let me just go to.
So Gaurav, if we can start with, there are a lot of questions on pricing. So if we can start about the pricing, what's the price, how does it move, whether it's a subscription model.
Yes.
And then we'll,
yes, sure.
go to the next question.
Yeah, so the pricing is very simple. We are very transparent with the pricing. It's available on our website, Slate.ac. It's a pricing based, it's a subscription model. So it starts from, as I said, for pure bookkeeping, it's about 2,000 rupees per month onwards. So what you get is access to the entire platform as well as a dedicated accountant. And if you fall under, I think if you're below, I think 10 or 15 lakhs of revenue and less than 40 transactions per month, then you get to avail of that pricing. And for Mumbai Angels, we have a further discounted price. So if you come by Mumbai Angels portfolio and such things, there's a discount on that further. But that is how the pricing works. As your company grows, the pricing changes because then we are having to do more work for you. So based on that, the pricing changes, but it's divided in slabs. So 0 to 40 transactions, 40 to, I think, 100, 100 to 200, and then also based on revenue. And then there are certain things you can get as standard pricing. And if you have very specific requirements that you want us to track, which again requires additional work, there'll be maybe a custom price that we will come up with once we talk to you.
Sure, that's helpful. So let's move on to the next question, and that's related to cyber security. So people at large want to understand, how secure systems are. Have you tested your system for any, information leakage also? So if you can talk about, the cyber security.
So I'll ask Siddharth to answer this because he heads product and tech. He'll be the best person to answer this question. But before I hand it to him, one quick thing that I will add is that, there is, people typically tend to work with the accountants who are independent practices, right? And there is pretty much no security there because you just send your data and it sits in a, Tally or a QuickBooks system and it is in somebody's computer, right? It is very, very easy to take that data and, share it with people or, even lose it if people do not follow the right practices of backup and such things. So, definitely way more secure than that. But to be more specific, I think Siddharth will answer.
Yeah, so we are, obviously the future is the cloud, and even this accounting approach we are taking, we are in fact in the midst of building our own accounting system. All of that's going to be on the cloud. We have pretty strict user rights, sort of cloud security as well as user rights management and, audit logs, which actually helps us track all the data flows. Obviously, you've got to keep in mind that the kind of support function accounting and compliance is, there's a lot of documentation flowing in and out. Even with banking, which we plan to enable within the next few weeks, require us to have, class 3 security certificates. So yeah, we are really taking a relook at accounting as a support function for a lot of SMEs and startups. And, you can be rest assured that, we are building best practices for data security and, document management so that, customers have a good experience with us.
Sure, that's helpful. So moving on to the next question, it's related to, Slate being integratable with QuickBooks and Tally. So is it possible, that Slate can work along with QuickBooks and Tally, maybe fetch data from that and maintain the system. What do you guys?
Yeah, so we can take data in from Tally and QuickBooks, and we can translate it into our platform and store it. And then when somebody wants it back in Tally and QuickBooks, we can send it back in that format if they want it.
Sure. So another related question is on API integration. So what all APIs are currently integrable with system, and what are you thinking in terms of future on APIs?
So we are actually doing a lot on API integration. As I said that, we want this to be like a control center or your cockpit from where you can operate various different things, which are especially which are administrative and financial in nature. So, for example, there are payment gateways, there are banks, there are POS terminals, there could be payroll systems, and accounting systems, right? So we're going to be working to integrate with all of these, and perhaps even things like expense management tools and such things, so that you have one place to look at all of the financial movement, any movement that is happening in the business from a financial perspective, it is reflected in one dashboard.
Sure. So another related question is, if Slate could replace QuickBooks, and do you see yourself as a mix of accounting plus QuickBooks plus taxation?
So QuickBooks is a product and Slate is a service. As I said, we are an AI plus human accounting platform. QuickBooks is a pure product. If you take QuickBooks subscription, you still have to do the accounting yourself. If you take Slate subscription, you just outsource all of that to us, and we make sure that it's all prim and proper. So we are not necessarily in the same space. QuickBooks is self-serve and requires you to have your own accounting team or figure out your own accounting yourself. This is for people who want to just outsource all of it and let the partner, which is Slate here, figure out how this will, how they keep things flowing smoothly.
Sure. So, Gaurav, we saw, the presentation on desktop mode, right? So there's another question if you have a mobile version of the application also.
Yeah, in the pipeline.
Or a tablet version.
Yeah, it's in the pipeline. It's not ready yet. As I said, we are just about 3 months into the market, and this dashboard has been made available only maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago. So there's a lot of development going on. We're prioritizing, what we need to do in terms of the automation and in terms of, simplifying the life of the entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur, the owner of the company, is right at the center of it, right? And the second person at the center of it is the accounting team. So, what are all the things which will simplify that person's life is where we are focusing. Definitely mobile access and mobile apps are part of that. It's a little bit down in the little bit way down in the pipeline, but it's coming. For sure, it's coming.
Sure. So what's the likely time frame? 6 months, 7 months, year?
Yeah, within 2020.
Sure. So another question is related to the company structure or the entity structure. So that this question is, does Slate work for multiple entities like trust and others?
Yeah. So yeah, whether you're an LLP, proprietorship, private limited company, co-op, we could pretty much help you along all of those. And don't forget that we also have partners, which as I mentioned earlier, we have these franchise or network partners. So our range of services is pretty wide in terms of at least knowing these things that you just mentioned.
Sure. So as you said, answer to one of the questions on pricing, it starts with 2,000 rupees per month. So is it a paid only version, or do you also roll out a free period for the individual companies to try and test the product?
So right now, because it is not a self-serve product, it is a product which is attached to the service, right? So at the moment, we don't have a self-serve version, so it doesn't make sense to, we can give somebody access to the platform and give some demo data in there so that they can look around and get used to it. But really, it's about the service which is attached to it. And if you're going to onboard your data and if we're going to get you going, then it's hard to do it just for free if you're going to do this for 1 month and they want to leave. But it's something which we are actively thinking about as to how to give a free trial, and maybe in a self-serve mode.
Sure. So, are there any more questions for Slate at this point of time?
I got some questions from some of my teammates. I don't know where. Just 1 second. I'm just having a look.
It's a summary only.
Oh.
So see, Gaurav, there's a lot of confusion around Slate, Tally, and QuickBooks. So are they mutually exclusive, or they work together, or how does the data flow?
Sure. So as I said, so Tally and QuickBooks are both products, right? So if you are somebody who can manage the accounting yourself, or you have an accounting team who is familiar with QuickBooks and Tally, you can subscribe to these, and then you can with that knowledge enter the data into the right fields, and you have to then devote that much time, right? Assuming you are doing it yourself, okay? Or you hire somebody who is who you're going to pay maybe 20,000 rupees upwards to be an accountant, and then you appoint a chartered accountant on top of that to make sure that that person is doing their work correctly, because an accountant necessarily doesn't qualify to do GST filings and TDS filings because they don't have enough knowledge many times. So Tally and QuickBooks are products, which is very different. Slate is offering a service where we come to you and we say that, look, you are a busy entrepreneur, you have a number of things on your plate. We will manage your entire accounting and compliance. We will give you a dedicated accountant who will work remotely. You just have to take your financial invoices, your bank statements, and email them periodically to this person and forget about it. You can rest happily in the knowledge that Slate is taking every step possible to make sure that your accounts are up to date, they're reliable, your taxes are paid, and you're getting all of the management reports on your screen, which you do not get with any of these other systems.
Sure, that's helpful. So, Gaurav, if you can also speak about, talk about, the 25 customers that you have acquired, what are the different sectors that they are working on? That will also give a lot of flavor to, participant, and give a sense on.
So we have pretty diverse range. So we have people who are running lots of, so we have a lot of services companies, definitely. Some startups as well. We have an angel fund who is our customer. We have a gym which we service. We have a foreign company which has an Indian subsidiary which is being managed by us. I think the smallest company may be just a few lakh rupees in turnover, and the largest company may be in the maybe up to 5-10 crores at this moment, if I'm not mistaken. We have a doctor's clinic which has multiple clinics for hair transplant and such kinds of work. Co-working spaces are clients. An online a startup for some online services is a client. So I think pretty diverse, and with the knowledge that our team has, we are pretty confident that we whether the company is doing a few lakhs in turnover or 500 crores of turnover, we can manage. What we'd like to do is be able to partner with startups, or for that matter, even non-technology companies, or generally just SMEs and professionals, to be with them from from almost infancy to the time that they get mature big companies. So we are not constrained by size in any way.
So that would mean that Slate is applicable to both early stage startups and SMEs also. Anyone who's looking to.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the offerings that we have around the preferred partners, we are adding credit very soon. By the way, we've been getting a lot of requests for credit. It's coming up very soon, where we will connect you to the relevant PSUs and people who will be able to fund the credit required. Uh, so it's really for a pretty wide audience. Doctors, lawyers, architects, designers, all these people as well.
Sure. So the last question would be on variance analysis. So if someone puts their input at the start of the month, and the Slate captures, the data real time, is it possible to create a month-end variance report from Slate?
So yes, so we have a service team for exactly that reason, that things which are not part of the automated stack can be handled by the service team. And it's just a matter of you telling us what your requirements are, and we just have to figure out what is the time spent and give you the appropriate pricing, which I'm sure will be super competitive in any case.
Sure. I think we have.
I'm seeing some questions here. So can we send physical bills or scan them? So normally this is a question from Meeta Radhakrishnan. Uh, so physical bills, we would discourage. You can send it if there isn't any other choice. We would like you to ask your vendor to just send you that bill on email, and all bills pretty much now are created on a computer. So you can just send us those bills, and we will do the rest from there. What about NGOs? So right now, not working with NGOs, but we can, given if there is enough requirement in that market, we can create the expertise. That's not difficult.
And so another question,
Jagnesh
since
has
we
a
have
question about what does a CA charge for the same service to a startup. Comparison will be helpful. So it depends. The CA market is so fragmented and so unorganized. There can be a CA who could charge maybe 2,000 rupees, and there'll be a CA who could charge 10 or 12,000 rupees for the exact same, bookkeeping requirement. And this will typically depend on the, whether that CA, how many years he's in practice, and how much of a brand that person has built, and what his fixed costs are. It may vary by city and such things. So it's very difficult and to give one number. But what happens typically is that if you say, let's say you work with the guy who's charging 2,000 rupees, you still do not know what the person's reliability and accuracy rate is. Okay. And you also don't know what that person at 10,000 is doing in terms of what are his protocols, how many people does he have in terms of employees and such things, how many people is he servicing. So does he service 10 clients with 4 staff, and then when he gets to even 80 clients, does he keep 4 staff, right? Because this is a very competitive space for them also, so they cannot they also, the CA practices are very, very highly constrained for margin, right? So they will do whatever it takes. So because of these reasons, it's very hard to give one number. And for exactly that reason, it is important to work with an organized player who has protocols at the lower point of the curve in terms of pricing.
Great. So over to you, Ankit.
Sure, that was a very insightful session.
Can I just quickly answer this one question? How do you see geographical collaboration in regards with growth scale, Series A or SME verticals? So not sure if I have understood it properly, but essentially what we would do is that if you, let's say that you had an accounting team of your own in a particular company, we could also empower them with our practices and our technology. And then have some differential pricing on that. It's not something we have actively come across right now, but we do also provide, for example, if a company is at a size where it needs a full-time accountant in the premises, so we actually hire a person, send it to them, and that person works under our guidance with the technology stack that we have. So
Sure.
I hope Manoj Patel asked that question. I hope that answers it.
Sure. So let's close now. And we would like to thank our members, portfolio companies, and other participants for taking out time to attend this session of Spotlight. We'll be sharing the details for next Spotlight soon. Till then, take care and stay safe. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ankit, Akshay, Shivangi, and thank you to the audience for listening. I hope you found this useful. And if there's anything else that we can do for you, please contact us at sales@slate.ac. We'd be happy to answer more questions for you.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Yes.